Hello and welcome. I'm at the Sports Authority of India Stadium in northern Mumbai to meet a man who's back on the AstroTurf after a break of about 3 years. He's going to be playing in the World Series Hockey League that's going to launch in February and is expected to shake up the sport of hockey and also add to the controversy surrounding it. Please welcome Viren Rasquinha, one of the most passionate and articulate champions of Indian sports and also the CEO of the Olympic Gold Quest. Viren, lovely to see you here. How does it feel to be back?
Thanks, Anuradha. I think it's just great to be back on the AstroTurf. It's been so long, and the best emotion that I can ever feel is actually being here on the hockey pitch. The emotion of winning and losing, being part of a team environment, and the banter in the dressing room and ribbing each other about various things, and that's the best fun. So it just gives me the greatest joy to be back on the hockey pitch.
Viren, I've been reading about WSH World Series Hockey and the fact that it'll be India's first league. You're supposed to launch in December, isn't it? Even as we speak, the tournament should have begun, but it's got pushed to February. And from what I read, it's got pushed because some key Indian national team players did not participate because they're at the camp, because they're gearing up for the pre-Olympic qualifier. But having said that, it's not as simple as that. It is about the fact that you have two federations running Indian hockey, and the one supporting WSH, which is the Indian Hockey Federation, doesn't see eye to eye with Hockey India, which is the one that is running the national game in that sense, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all a bit complicated, and for me it's very sad actually to see hockey being administered this way. I really feel hockey has so much potential to be a true mass sport. I was there in Delhi during the Commonwealth Games, during the World Cup as well, and every India game was played to a packed stadium at the Dhyan Chand National Stadium. And I can say with guarantee that if the Indian hockey team plays anywhere in the country, hockey is a sport that will still draw full crowds to the stadium just because of the emotional attachment to the sport, and every Indian wants to see hockey being run well. They want to see the Indian hockey team doing well.
So you think as an idea, the World Series Hockey League is one that is going to be successful? I mean, you're obviously a part of it. You're going to be playing for Mumbai Warriors, but you're convinced that this is an idea that will catch on in India?
Definitely, Anuradha. If I did not believe that, I would not use this as a platform for my comeback. I am playing the World Series of Hockey for a few reasons. One is it's a platform where top quality hockey will be played. And I truly believe that Indian hockey needs a strong domestic league, because that's a platform where the best young talent in the country will get the opportunity to display their talent, to play against the best players in the world, to play under the best coaches in the world. Here at Mumbai Warriors, we are coached by Andrew Meredith. And in this 1 week of the training camp, I feel that I've never seen a better coach than Andrew.
And you were the captain of the Indian hockey team, so you've seen lots of coaches and you know how coaching is done in India, and you're still saying that.
Right, I think because I just feel that overall, with my participation in hockey over the years, as well as with Olympic Gold Quest, I travel the length and breadth of the country. I think our coaching system is 10 years behind the rest of the world. We need to upgrade ourselves. We need to update ourselves with the latest modern training techniques and methods, because if we don't, however much raw talent our youngsters have,
we're not going to be competitive.
At the highest level, we'll never be competitive, because at the highest level of sport, it takes much more than just sheer raw talent to win you an Olympic gold medal. And we need coaches like Andrew Meredith, like Ronald Altmans, who are here with the World Series of Hockey, to coach our coaches, to coach our youngsters. I am 31 years old. I wish I had someone like Andrew Meredith coaching me when I was 21 years old.
But having said that, how daunted are you by the fact that these two warring factions that are attempting to run Indian hockey, that may get in the way, because you're not playing it in December, and you're supposed to play it in February, but who knows whether similar problems will occur, which is Indian hockey pressurizing the national team players from not participating, isn't it?
Yeah, it's, people are talking about a club versus country debate. I don't think really that's the debate at all. The debate is really, unfortunately, the the clash of egos and politics between the two federations, which is sad for Indian hockey, because I personally feel that all these people have to be put in a room and they need to sit across the table and thrash out their differences. And for the sake of Indian hockey, there should be one strong federation running Indian hockey, a federation where there are strong visionaries, people with foresight, people who have the interests of hockey, who have the interests of the players at heart. Only then can Indian hockey really move forward. We need paid professionals in these jobs, not people who are just at honorary posts and who think that they are doing everyone a favor. We need people who are the best at what they do running Indian hockey.
Do you feel that the league, the World Series Hockey League, will take off in February where it is scheduled now?
As of now,
As a player,
from everything that I see from the outside, the league will go on as scheduled. Now as per the postponed schedule, post the Olympic qualifiers.
And you expect the national team players to be participating?
I expect the national team players to participate. I've spoken to most of them, and all of them have privately expressed their views that they definitely do want to play. They're excited about playing the World Series of Hockey. In hindsight, teams get more time to prepare. The organizers and the producers have better time to market the event better, hype it up more. And if India goes to the Olympics, qualifies for the Olympics, which I believe they will do, I think it's just going to, in India, it's very important for the national team to do well, for domestic hockey to be popular. So I think, it'll be a good platform to play in.
So you're pretty confident that it'll take off in February and it'll be good?
Yes, I'm sure.
This league is going to be run with, the IHF and Nimbus. Now, Nimbus is a sports broadcaster, and we know what happened when Zee launched the Indian Cricket League, isn't it?
Yeah.
Without the full support of the BCCI. We know what happened there. So is that cause for concern, especially now because the BCCI has cancelled the remaining part of Nimbus's contract?
Yeah, see, I'm not sure what will happen on that aspect. I'm not sure of contracts between BCCI and Nimbus, so I'm going to stay out of that. But I think the one major difference between the ICL and the World Series of Hockey is in the ICL, no top Indian cricketer played the ICL. In the World Series of Hockey, every top Indian player is going to play. Every top Indian player has already signed contracts to play the World Series of Hockey. So the fact that the top players in the country are playing, that gives credibility to the league. That's why it's very important now for the league to get postponed and we get all the top players in the country playing under one platform.
So you're saying that it's not something that should have an immediate impact. How Nimbus's relationship with the cricket federation works out, you don't think should have an impact on what its plan for hockey is?
Right, it's just not for us to interfere about that. I'm not sure what will happen on that front, but again, as I said, from everything I see, they're going full steam ahead with the plans to organize the World Series of Hockey.
Now, you're one of the most vocal and articulate supporters of the sports bill, isn't it? Along with a whole bunch of other sports stars and icons from, cutting across different sports. Where do you think that bill will go? Because, we know that modifications have been made. We know senior cabinet ministers are against it. What happens next? Because you must be watching that very carefully, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. One thing I must say very strongly is that all the sports icons who came out and supported the sports bill, we would have never done something like that if it was, I hear words like draconian, I hear words like intrusive for the sports bills. If you actually read the sports bill, there is nothing in the bill that actually goes against the ethics of sport. Everything about the sports bill is about universal laws of good governance in sport. It's about better player representation. It is taking care of things like sexual harassment in sport, about dope control in sport, about settlement of disputes. These things are time bound and it's perfectly mentioned in the sports bill. So everything about the sports bill is towards the progress of sport. And that's why all of us have come out so strongly
So
in support of something which is good for the future of Indian sport.
when I watch the debate about the sports bill, it's quite clear that players are ranged on one side and the administrators are kicking and screaming on the other side, rejecting it. Is that largely because of the clauses that would control tenure and age of administrators, or is it because of the 25% representation for players and all the governing and executive bodies of these federations? Which one do you think the administrators fear the most?
I think they sort of fear it all. But having said that, I must say that there are some very good administrators in Indian sport, but it's few and far between. The people who truly want the progress of Indian sport would never go against something that is good for the future of Indian sport. We have always said, the sports icons together have always said, you tell us which clause is a problem and we'll sit across the table and we'll discuss what is appropriate for Indian sport. But I think a tenure of 8 or 12 years, if you cannot make a difference in that time, then you'll never make a difference even in 20 years. If in sport, if you cannot do something by the age of 60, you're not going to be able to do it when you're 80. If they have proper logic, we would be very happy to...
and some modifications have already happened, isn't it?
Some modifications have happened where we feel that there was a mistake. Yes, we are happy to actually modify it.
No, I think that bit about the RTI not being applicable to athletes, so that, about their selection or performance.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. To the selection process, to the injury process, that is not applicable to that. The only place
and that's a modification, isn't it?
Yes, it is. The only place where RTI is applicable is to the utilization of funds. When the government is giving sports federations tons of money every single year, there's no performance, there's no accountability, there's no showing as to where the money has gone. Has the player benefited at the grassroots level? If that's not happening, for how long can we continue this?
So is the BCCI the biggest stumbling block? Is the BCCI's resistance to being part of this, a federation that then gets monitored by the sports bill or comes under its clauses, is that the biggest stumbling block, you think? And is that where even the political rejection, of the bill coming from? Be candid, Viren.
I see, the way I think of it, I think we got a lot of lessons to learn from the BCCI. Yes, politically they are very strong, so there's a big chance that it will be rejected over there at the cabinet, and that's the way things are. The way I look at it, I don't want all the other 65 sporting federations in the country to hide behind the coattails of the BCCI and not take ownership for doing good for Indian sport. So there are Olympic sports, there are non-Olympic sporting disciplines, but we want all of them to improve, to be more professional, to learn the lessons from the BCCI. I think one of the main clauses that is not being accepted by the BCCI is the RTI and showing of the accounts and the transparency in that.
As a public, and to be considered as a public authority and therefore come under the ambit of the RTI.
Exactly.
So would you be open, Viren, to getting, if the sports bill has to be passed, would you, as a player who is so supportive of it and see how much good it can do, would you say that, okay, let's pass it, keep the BCCI and cricket out of it?
That's a possibility, but when you draft a bill, Anuradha, you cannot have cricket one side and 65 sports on the other side. This is a sports bill. Cricket is a sport. It is the people of India also want to know. It's not just the Indian cricket team. It's sport run across the country from the national body. So all of us, if we feel pride and passion in supporting the Indian cricket team, surely we deserve to know. I feel pride and passion when India won the World Cup. I watched every single ball of it. So sure, we deserve to know. Having said, BCCI has done great in the last 25 years. They have just taken cricket to another level. There's so many lessons for every other sporting federation to learn. So if they're doing the right things, if there's accountability in what they do, what is the problem in accepting it? That will serve as a lesson to all the other national sports federations as well. So that's simple logic. Maybe I'm naive and things don't happen so easily, but that's my goal is to get all other sports federations to be part of the sports bill for the benefit of the future of Indian sport, so that 20 years down the line our kids will thank us for actually helping to get this passed.
So what's the sense you're getting from the sports federations? What are you hearing? Do you see the mood towards the bill changing?
I think what is not coming out so much in the media is that almost half the sports federations have willingly accepted all provisions of the sports bill. Privately, people do support it, but just a few people in power who want to continue till I become 60, continue in power. It's just they who are opposing it. I think Sports Minister Ajay Maken has done a wonderful job. In all my years of Indian hockey, I have never seen a sports minister who goes to the players and asks them what is the problems you're facing, what are the challenges you're facing, how can we make things better. And it's different from sitting in the AC room. It's different from actually being on the ground and seeing the challenges that our young talents are facing. I really want to see a sea of support for something that is good for Indian sport. How long will we only sit and complain कि क्या यार 1 billion का population एक ही gold medal लेके आते हैं, which Abhinav won despite the system and not due to the system. So we need to make a positive change. We need to be strong in our belief in what is good for Indian sport.
A few months from now, we'll be talking about London 2012, and that's going to be grabbing the headlines. The Olympic gold quest, I think, supports what, 34?
We have 34 athletes
34
at the
athletes
moment
that you're supporting. So tell us how many of them are going to be competing and have qualified for the Olympics, and what kind of prospects, without doing crystal ball gazing, what kind of prospects, who should we look out for?
Olympic gold quest athletes, we have 10 of them who have already qualified for London 2012. If things go really well, we'll have 10 more, but we expect a minimum of at least 7 more OGQ supported athletes to be at London 2012. All of them are potential medal winners. I think that's the good thing about the London 2012 Olympics. I think India has a much bigger pool of talent who are potential medal winners. From the athletes that OGQ supports, there's Gagan Narang, there's Saina Nehwal, there's MC Mary Kom. These are the names you would expect. But I think there could also be a lot of dark horses who
would they be? Tell us, because we don't track, people like us track it only once these people achieve the success.
Right.
Whereas I think they deserve the support before they achieve success, isn't it?
Exactly.
So tell us about the dark horses.
Some of the dark horses are Vijay Kumar, I think, in pistol shooting. He won three Commonwealth Games gold medals. He just recently won 5 gold medals in the national championship and broke a 10-year-old national record by Jaspal Rana. I think he has the temperament and technique of the best shooters in the world. We have Vikas Gowda, who's a discus thrower, and Vikas Gowda just recently came 7th in the world championship, where all the top throwers in the world were there. 7th. That's so close to an Olympic medal, where one moment of inspiration will get you that medal. There's Anuraj Singh also in pistol shooting. I think I must mention, although he's not an athlete supported by OGQ, Ranjan Sodhi, who's been in such brilliant form this year. One of the athletes I truly admire for his temperament, the person that he is, and he's showed his class time and again. So there are a lot of dark horses. The archery men and women's team events, superb talents, and they don't get so much of the limelight. But I would actually say that they have bigger chances of a medal than probably the big names that we would think about.
So those were the other sports. What about Indian hockey? Because 2008 was the nadir, isn't it? It was the lowest point of Indian hockey and its Olympic performance. What has happened in the past 4 years? Because what I read, I don't read the performances. I read about Hockey India versus IHF. So that's what grabs the headlines where your sport is concerned.
Yeah, that's why I've always said that's very sad for me, that hockey is only in the news for controversy and fights, etc. I'm just waiting for the day when India will qualify for the Olympics again, when we perform well at the Olympics, and keep all the negative things aside. We have been on the right path. Recently we played the Champions Challenge, where we had a good tournament overall. We slipped up in the final a bit when we were leading Belgium 3-1 in the final. But overall, I think Coach Michael Nobbs has done a very good job with the team. I expect India to qualify at home against not a very tough pool, but you can never take any international team lightly, especially when an Olympic berth is at stake. So
Right.
teams are going to play their hearts out, and we need to plan well. We need to execute very efficiently and very ruthlessly. I think Indian hockey players need to be much more ruthless on the pitch, and that's the one way we can really stay abreast with the top teams in the world.
Viren, you're a bit of an exception in among sports people, isn't it? Because you sort of gave up sports when you were still able to play it really, at that national and international level, and decided to go and do a degree do an MBA degree, right? So how does that work? How does that work, and how much of an exception are you when you meet other players, not just in hockey but elsewhere?
Right, it's actually a bit funny because when I was in school, I sort of got like 91% in my SSC board exam.
Yeah. So you were a ranker. You were a rank holder, as they say.
Yes. And everyone wanted me to study. Mom was a doctor. My two elder brothers was an engineers, and everyone wanted me to study, and I wanted to play. And when I was 28 years old, and when I finally quit playing hockey, everyone wanted me to play, and I wanted to study. So that was a bit funny. But as far as the MBA is concerned, which I did at ISB. A couple of reasons. One is I always wanted to quit hockey when I was at the peak of my game, when people still respected me for what I did. And I was always also clear that when I left hockey to do something else, it had to be something equally challenging, something that would push me physically and mentally as well. So I thought it was the right time at that time. ISB is one of the best institutes in India. I wanted to do the course in India itself and not go abroad as well. It's really helped me a lot, and probably in a way it's helped me to start OGQ almost from scratch. Although it's been the dream and vision of Geet Sethi and Prakash Padukone. When I actually joined, there was not much happening, and I'm really happy to see so many athletes being benefited by Olympic Gold Quest, which I think is a beautiful cause for Indian sport.
So you're in a great space, isn't it, right now? You're getting to play hockey again, you're managing sports, and you're today one of the most articulate, like I said, and influential voices influencing the way Indian sports will be conducted, isn't it? So it's a good space to be.
I think someone up there has been very kind to me, so I shouldn't be complaining at all.
So now all you want to see is the league take off in February, and then in the Indian hockey team take off, maybe get a medal position at London, and all the athletes you're supporting, all of them come back with great medals, isn't it?
That would be an absolute dream come true. Maybe you could add another dream. In over 180 matches for the Indian team, I never scored a single goal, so I'm going to try. The coach just told me in the morning he wants me to score a goal today. So he was teaching me the reverse hit, which I didn't learn in 15 years of playing Indian hockey. So.
Viren Rasquinha, it's a pleasure talking to you. Wish you all the best, and more power to all the causes that you're championing.
Thank you so much.
Lovely meeting you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.